Well, do you think, well, I guess the question is that how much of an effect do you think it's having still today? As far as
but I mean, you said several things I didn't make out. State it again.
What are you familiar with all the succeeds of Aquarian conspiracy with Alan Watts, Timothy Leary, the LSD?
Yes.
The British invasion, the '60s revolution of free love. Okay, do you think that there's a way to combat that with a media campaign?
Well, look. That's what I talk about a bit in this new 21-minute audio blog that's up on Infowars.com, is how they had to destroy all the other existing orders to build their new order on top of it, and they had to break up the family, and they had to teach people to be shallow so they never formed deep relationships and basically develop in their hierarchy of needs to being a fully developed person. It's about arrested development, a junior high mentality. It's very, very sophisticated to get into all of it. But the best way to look at it is from a narrow spectrum, looking at one small piece of it, the feminist. And it's all declassified. It's on record. She admits it. Gloria Steinem was funded by the CIA to create Miss Magazine. They put down having children, having families, but they all themselves had children and had big families. You know, they know that's what we're designed to do and how great it is. They just don't want you to have it so you can be isolated so they, the hyenas, can rip your guts out. It's kind of like Meerkat Manor. You know, the ruling Meerkat group doesn't want your group to get together and breed and be strong and stick together. They teach you it's cool to fight with each other. They teach you it's cool to run off on each other, to snitch to the other, you know, boss Meerkat group so your group gets destroyed. I mean, it just goes into basic tribe pack psychology. So they attack our strong tribal instincts, which are a defense mechanism against their dehumanization, because they fully want to take over human society and remake it and atomize it to where it's unrecognizable, to where the language is destroyed, where you cannot communicate with people. And we're already reaching that tipping point where much of the population literally has no original thoughts in their heads, and you can't communicate with them, and they're threatened by large words, they're threatened by ideas, and they are destroyed. But they don't count because the enemy just has armies of them. We have armies of people that can think. I'll take a thinker over 10 drones. Now, the larger, see, I said I take a lot of calls. This is a very complex issue. It's totally real. And it's all on record. They all wrote about it. It's all been implemented. But the feminist situation, going back to Edward Bernays, the nephew of course, Sigmund Freud, he worked for the Department of War. Before it was the Department of Defense, General Motors, Ford, PR. He's the reason you eat bacon with eggs. They couldn't really get rid of pork bellies. They had so many pork bellies because that was a part people saw as trash meat. It was only used in flavoring in stews and green beans and for lard and things. And so they had a national push that there's nothing better than bacon with eggs. Now, that overall isn't an evil thing, except it shows their power. They financed the feminist movements that the Rockefellers financed, Margaret Sanger, all the big suffrage groups. They took something that sounded reasonable, that I would support, women voting, and you know, being part of the larger democratization of the Republic society, to a point, because then the government domesticates women and uses them as an army, because women generally, on average, are more conformist than men. That's why Hitler said, first you get the women, then you have the children, so follow the men. Hitler mainly targeted women. Not that women are bad. It's just the enemy psychologically saw this. And Goebbels wrote about Bernays. He admired much of his propaganda, but hated him because he was a Jew, Joseph Goebbels. But he used a lot of Bernays' systems as well. And so Bernays simply had the big cigarette makers finance all the feminist groups, gave them tons of money, paid for their bus tickets in 1920s. Before that, their train tickets, their hotels, and all they had to do was smoke cigarettes and say, show the men smoke cigarettes. Yeah, show the men. It was men that owned the tobacco companies. So it was a big joke on women, used them as a weapon to then destroy the family and to teach them it was cool to have birth control, that it was cool to have abortions, that it was fun. And now just look at society, totally wrecked, women totally dehumanized, turned into nothing but sexual objects, men arrested at age 5, just oafish, weak, blithering, cowardly, gibbering people who can't be serious or focus. Just total psychological domination, annihilation. Blacks had over 50% legitimacy in the 1940s. It's now 93%. I was wrong. I looked up the national statistics. 52% of blacks are never born, not 51. Over half blacks never make it out of the womb. Devastating victory by the globalists posing as liberals. Margaret Sanger said, we will get these weeds. We will pose as liberals. We will hire the blacks. We will pose as liberals. We will hire the head women. We will get them. We will destroy them. We will annihilate them. And they do. They murder you with pleasure. And they give the women all the different IUD systems. Half the women that took them or more got sterilized. It's an accident, with the Dalcon Shield system. Oh, it's an accident that this shot you got made you sterile. It's an accident. It's just total warfare, just scientific pounding you, posing as chicken neck liberals. Oh, I'm so liberal. Oh, I'm so loving. And then the fake conservatives posing as pro-family as they vote for it all and pass it all and drive it all through. Just a giant scientific warfare assault on all of humanity, totally rampaging at full pace towards global government mass extermination. We'll be right back with your phone calls. I'm Alex Jones. Obama is meant to play the part of the puppet, take the blame, be politically destroyed, and then later built back up after he's left office, just like George W. Bush is, or Bill Clinton. Yeah, he's come out and said Michael Vick deserves a second chance. The NFL player who tortured dogs to death, he didn't just fight them. He tortured them and electrocuted them and things. And... But the lady at Austin International Bergstrom, the rape victim, who said, you're not going to grab my breast, and the woman said, yes, we are. Then the Austin police slammed her down to the ground, drug her by handcuffs. It was all a big celebration. She doesn't deserve a second chance giving into your rape gangs. It's all a bunch of baloney. Okay, now I said I'm going to hurry and take calls, and I'm not really doing that. It was quite a rant earlier, but when I think about these murderers, I get angry. Let's talk to Michael in California. Michael, you're on the air.
Hi, Alex. Belated Merry Christmas to you, yours, InfoWars, and GCN.
May you have a great New Year coming up, my friend.
You too. You too. May it be blessed to all of us. Hey, have you seen the new John Pilger documentary, The War You Don't See? Have you seen that yet?
No, but he's the Australian, isn't he?
Yes, he is.
Man, listen, I want to get him on. I really respect him, even though I don't agree with socialism. I mean, he's one of the bleeding heart liberals that allows all this to happen. But overall, his analysis of Obama, the globalist, I mean, he's a really thought-provoking guy.
It's really interesting how you have carried out your thoughts this morning. But in his new documentary, he has Cynthia McKinney on there calling Barack Obama a warmonger. And it is outstanding. He's basically turning the media on its heels right now, and he's going after the hand that feeds him. He's even biting back at the BBC, ITN, and others.
No, I know. And of course, he's a famous photographer, took some of the most famous photos in Vietnam, little burn girl, napalmed, and the rest of it, for those that don't know who we're talking about. And this is the time to get aggressive. This is the time to get out of left-right. This is the time to stop mincing words. That's what Paul Craig Roberts' editorial is about today on InfoWars.com. He's one of our writers. Very honored to have him. It's time to turn the heat up in InfoWar. It's time to pull out the stops, make a splash. You are the revolutionaries against the globalists. We're really counter-revolutionaries against their full-spectrum takeover. And so I will definitely check into that. I know about his new film. I've told Jaron to try to get him. We've been trying for months. I appreciate your call. Let's go ahead and talk to Jonathan in Kansas. Jonathan, you're on the air.
Yes, Alex.
Yes, sir.
Fair.org, that is Fairness and Accuracy in Reporting, reported in the 8th of October that Chris Matthews actually advocated for for Phil Donahue to get kicked off the air because he had anti-war views. So Chris Matthews poses as someone...
No. He's a total hypocrite. They do what they're told. That through the Defense Department and through the Department of Labor and other agencies, he is directly paid by the government, just like Armstrong Williams. Chris Matthews isn't a liberal. He's not a conservative. He is a government operative, period. None of it's real. But to fool people, it's just like in England, or you'll go to tourist traps like Port Aransas, Texas. I found out one company owns almost every one of the big tourism things with the fake sharks out front, and where you buy the beach towels and caps and chairs, or shirts or bathing suits. One company owns all the big ones, and there's a few little mom and pops. And just like in England, the vast majority of people buy from two stores. They're owned by the same company. But one has a green scheme, one has an orange scheme. And so people think there's a choice. And that's all it is with Fox News and with MSNBC. But Fox News knows that you've woken people up, I've woken people up, and now if they want to stay relevant, they've got to play the part of patriots so that at the key point they can still exercise influence. That shows how bad we're beating them. Do you see the beauty? We got them on their heels. It's time to realize it and put the spurs in. Anything else, sir? All right, he's gone. Let's jam in another, and I'm coming back with more. Let's go ahead and talk to who's up next here. Noah in Oklahoma, you're on the air.
Hey, Happy New Year, Alex.
Good. What's up?
Yesterday, you were talking, you briefly mentioned it, and as you were passing, I thought, man, I wish you would have went into that, but it was about
Your cell phone's cutting out. Say it again.
Okay. I've got a bad cell. The letter carriers are going to be carrying transmitters. Is that what you said yesterday?
Folks, that's CBS, AP, Reuters. Will you print me letter carriers? Let's find a Patriot article, because that'll be the easiest for me to remember. Then it'll link through. Give me the mainstream articles. Post office vehicles now to spy. Post office vehicles now to be worse than Google. Or something like that. And then it's got the articles linked in it. But yes, they've now announced. Well, they've announced years ago they're spying on you and trying to see what kind of mail you're getting. But now they're going to have big data grabbers.
We're on the march. The empire's on the run. Alex Jones and the GCN Radio Network.
From the front lines of the information war, it's Alex Jones.
All right, I'm going to hit some financial news, and then we're going to go right back to your calls. Charlotte Iserbyt is coming up with groundbreaking skull and bones intel. She's agreed to have the guys come back up and interview her and get skull and bones information never before seen. Anyways, very exciting. The truth is, ladies and gentlemen, when we start to resist evil, we begin to have success, and we grow our liberty muscles. We grow our minds, and we are fulfilled. It is our job to build and create and be honorable and to resist evil. And sometimes be defeated by it, sometimes win. But it's the battle that matters. It's being in the field, on the field, in the fight. Resistance is victory. Fighting back is victory. Knowing who the enemy is victory. And I mean, it is so valuable to me that I am not afraid of being killed. I'm not. I'm afraid of failing. I'm afraid of being weak and human. I'm afraid of the enemy lying about me and trying to destroy my name to destroy my work. But that won't work, because other people have now learned the paradigm shift information, and it's loose. I get a little bit of an adrenaline rush every time I think about it. A lot of you out there who are new listeners, you get excited when your team wins the Super Bowl and it's down to sudden death overtime, and they kick that field goal with 3 seconds left, or they run, through, and the running back jumps over the top and, gets the touchdown by 1 inch. You have that adrenaline rush. That's a false adrenaline rush off of symbolic warfare.